Started, and now I'll play the intro.
We're not doing video, right?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I'm getting some saying I have no resolution for anything. So we'll see what the chat says. We're 19 minutes into it. Give me a second. Let's see what's going on. Let me stop this and we'll restart. And I will play the intro.
Kaisers Kastle.
All right, we're tight now. Hey, welcome to Kaisers Kastle. What we're looking at tonight is a little bit of muff fake, and I'm about to expose this shit. I brought my brother Georgios on. Me and him exposed muff fake a few months back on another channel on what happened in Vegas. He has very little time, so we're going to get down and to the point for all of my folks. You all need to take a big seat on the big orange couch, and you honestly should listen to some of this, because we're about to explain a few things that a lot of you guys have not heard. Especially, look, Horowitz, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And I will tell you this, before we start this conversation, and Georgios has no idea where I get this information from, and I don't expect him to, but it's truth. His report has been gutted. And we can talk about Christopher Wray. We can talk about everybody involved that's still there, from Mueller on down. And but I'd rather have Georgios kick this off, babe. Tell the people what you know.
How you doing today, by the way?
Outstanding. How you doing?
So, one of the things me and you have discussed numerous times on different conversations is what I call heuristic patterns. And one of the things that to take away from this is that when you read something, or when it's a text that's script, or a text of the way people talk, you can see in the speech pattern, the way that things are, let's say, redacted or edited.
Right.
That me and you have a tendency. We have a linguistic pattern that we follow. We've been doing, we talk to each other, a certain kind of way.
Right.
So even if me and you were, let's say, chatting on Messenger, or just doing something that's a little bit, whatever pattern you would be used to it, even if we were on comms. So one of the things I've gotten from the IG report and reading through it is that there's some edited. What word do you want to use? Do you want to say edited? Do you want to say that maybe some of it's been redacted, edited for,
both of them.
Say it's edited for content,
for consumption.
Because because here's one of the things that the thing I took away the most, and this is Trump is never going to be president.
Right.
or Trump's not ever going to become president, right?
Because
Right?
we'll make sure of that. We'll make sure of that.
Right.
It was in the plural.
Right. And so here's here's a couple of the takeaways that I look at it. One of them is that for the longest time, and I'm not saying this to be, that our, to defend a generation because we grew up in the ownership of it.
Right.
But in the 80s and the 90s, when me and you served, and we were, we served in the Marine Corps, we served in the MBs, we didn't politicize our service.
No,
and,
never.
And and say what you want to say about that, but we never took a political stance on what we were doing. We were, we let the politicians do that. Here's
exactly.
what
we were forbidden to do that. We were told we were
right.
the lowest members of being an ambassador to that nation, a goodwill ambassador. And imagine federal cops now, the FBI. I think they deserve the smear they're getting. I'm being honest, because they have not been goodwill ambassadors to their own fucking nation, George.
Right, and here let me say this. I want to give this example, okay, and hear me out on this. And this is just a grumblings of an old Marine, but 15 or let's say in 2002 2003, the left, and I want to pick on the left on this because they need to on this. The left did not believe the intelligence community when they said that Trump. I'm sorry, when they said that when George Bush said that the Iraq had weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
The left didn't believe them. Okay. Then on top of that, they now they're saying, well, all of a sudden now we're going to believe them because it fits our narrative.
Right.
So I think that one of the things that's happened is that you're picking selective narratives to follow, and one of the things that has come to light on the IG report is the integrity of the message coming out of the three-letter agencies has been compromised. That is the basic thing that I take away from it, is that people are getting into the agencies, and now they're politicizing law enforcement to suit a narrative. That is a dangerous slope.
Yeah, it is. When you politicize, look, sheriffs are elected. That's a fact. The FBI, they get a free pass. They're bureaucrats.
Right.
And that's why I've pushed this, that the deep state is nothing more than the SES, Special Executive Service. And that's in every service. And I did hold out because I know many people within the Inspector General Service. And they've always held true. And I do believe, I will tell you this, people can talk all the shit they want on me when I say this about Horowitz. I do believe he gave a factual report. And I believe that Christopher Wray, I'm talking real now.
Okay.
Everybody within the FBI and the DOJ, Sessions, and honestly, just everybody within that chain of command, I believe, and somebody let me know if you can hear me, because I'm not getting a lot of feedback on my mic. So I need to know if people are hearing me. But the thing is, what I'm seeing with all this fuckery afoot, and honestly, it's just horrible. And they think we're going to digest their shit and say, yeah, man, that's aces. Thank you, GJ Maple. You can hear. Just got here. Awesome. What I'm talking about is these people have been throwing this out, and I do know for a fact they've watered down his report. Just
Right.
you know what. So nobody worries about it within the different investigative services. You know why I know it? I'm sentient. I'm able to travel space and time. I know nobody. If you believe that, then I have a bridge to sell you here in Ohio. But I would love to hear what you and I both heard from a certain shit stain that derided people in our home state. Go ahead, Georgios.
Yeah, I mean, one of the FBI agents basically called Trump supporters in Ohio retards.
Yeah.
Now, and here's the thing: if you don't like people, if you don't like people, you're going to wind up, there's going to be a cognitive bias against them when you start investigating them. Mm-hmm. Or and let's not be honest about this. If you don't like anybody, or if you don't like the guy, or if you don't, anything he does is going to be looked at with a bias. You're going to wind up having.
Yep.
You're going to go treat him fairly.
Right.
It's like, it's like going to your ex-wife and asking her for, marriage advice. I mean, it's not, let's be honest. We want to be, even though we're Marines, we want to be human. I mean, we're also human, and we do stupid stuff. I mean, let's be honest. If all Marines were honorable, there would be no reason for CID and NCIS. I mean,
you're right.
And
Same
so
in the
let's be
Army.
honest.
There'd be no reason for MPI or CID. Yeah.
Right. I mean, let's be honest about that. So, I think when you start looking at this thing as a whole, you gotta have you've got to have let's say you've got to have an unbiased, and you've got to take, because here, the introduction of what might look evil to you, or if you look at us, look at how many times I have yelled at you. If somebody that did not know us, took that out of context and said, "Oh my God, that big Greek guy is threatening that guy." Well, here's the thing. No, I mean, that's the way we talk to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that once you start acting that way, that you wind up having just you're not going to get the job done. And here's the thing: the IG,
you're not going to get the truth of it. That's the problem.
And if you want to tell me a message, if you want me to, if you want to tell me a message, there has to be integrity in that message.
Right.
I mean, it's not the idea that there's not a message, but how am I going to believe you that what you're telling me is correct? Because one of the things that me and you have talked about and we disagree on, and I want to point this out.
Many things.
There's a basic separation between being reliable and being dependable.
Right.
And dependable is you show up at 10 o'clock when you say you're going to be there.
Right.
Now, reliable is the information you're bringing forth correct?
Right.
That's why the Marine Corps has BAMSIS. I mean, that's why we have, because...
Let everybody know what BAMSIS is real quick, because they're not going to know. I'm telling you right now. Everybody's not a Marine like you and I.
All right. So, BAMSIS is basically begin planning, arrange for reconnaissance, make reconnaissance, complete the plan, issue the order, and supervise.
Right.
So the reason you begin reconnaissance is that you want to make sure that you aren't going out, and if you have a division, you're not going to send a battalion up against the division.
Right.
So you want to make sure that it is reliable, that the
Right.
information you get is reliable. I
Right.
don't have to be that it's got to be dependable, but it's a reliable.
Yeah.
And I think this is where in the last, and I'm going to say this, and I think it's I want to bring this up, and hopefully, correct me if I'm wrong, okay?
Right.
Because I know you have more information than I do.
Right.
But I think after Benghazi,
Right.
the the three-letter agencies were put in a position that they turned more political than apolitical.
And that's all of them. It's not just Benghazi. It was Gunwalker. It was the IRS.
Right,
the
right.
politicalization of the IRS. And that was something that me and you talked about one time. And this is, look, folks, Georgios will push back on me harder than any of you. And when I told him about the IRS thing and different things, he pushed back on it. And I want that. I want critical discussion. Even though I had information he might not have had, he pushed back using critical thinking. And that's the thing that I respect about him. I want him to always call me a motherfucking piece of shit.
Right.
I want him to
I call you a mood, but that's because.
But I love you for it.
But here's what I go back to, and we say about the IRS and all them, is if you're sitting there after what I think happened was when Barack got reelected, you had 4 more years of bureaucratic
bullshit.
Well, yeah, let's call it bureaucratic. Let's just call it bureaucracy.
SES.
And Hillary is another bureaucrat, regardless of how you regardless of what your political affiliation is. Hillary is she's not a politician. She is a bureaucrat.
That's right. In the communist meaning. Right.
And so once you start going down the road of saying, and I don't know that she's a communist. I don't think she's.
Well, we can talk about it another time, but
I think more so she's more of a socialist, and I think that she's.
Well, her wearing of a Maoist outfit all the time counter signals that, but we're not going to get into that. That's not what.
Yeah, well,
I have precious few moments with you, and I definitely want you to pimp your program too.
Here's the argument that I brought up with Hillary in the 2012 election, was that she used the "Stronger Together" was a Muslim song that they did in Egypt after the Arab Spring.
Yeah.
I've said that to people, and they're like, "Well, no." I said it's the exact words that they did. It's "Stronger Together." That's
exactly it. Yeah.
There's no hiding that. You can't say, "Oh, it's a thing." It's an accident. So here's my issue with Hillary, and they were going to be bureaucrats that are going to be in the DOJ and every other, whatever 3-letter agency you have, they're going to have more bureaucrats.
Right.
Which bureaucrats as a whole, this is the one thing that I always point out to people. Bureaucrats as a whole thrive in democratic administration.
Yes, they do.
Academics. Academics as well.
Yeah.
So I think that it's, here's the issue that I have with it. And I think that the DOJ, because it was so political and bureaucratic for the last 8 years, and I'm not going to say there was last 8. I'm going to say since Gonzalez was the Attorney General.
Well, I'll put it more succinctly. It happened under Bush when Homeland happened, and they put a dirty agency, which was the ATF, and nobody can doubt me on this. ATF has a long history of dirty shit and being politicized. And here's
Right.
my issue is that once they got added in the DOJ from Treasury, that's where they belong, is Treasury. But
Right.
they were politically vying. It's no different than in Ohio, where the Ohio State Highway Patrol want to be considered police officers. They're not. They're administrative on the highways and byways of Ohio. And if they want to become a cop, they have to do more schooling to become a cop as a sheriff or a police officer. That's a
Right.
fact. Nobody can deny. Now, they wanted it so bad, they got mixed in. So we poured dirty water into DOJ, which was at one point, we can both agree, and this happened under Bush W. This was not
Right.
under Clinton. This was not under anybody else. It happened, and they have been politicizing this since Bush Sr. trying to get in, and even Reagan. And they kept them in Treasury. Once we
Right.
dumped that dirty water into Treasury, or out of Treasury into DOJ, what do you expect to happen? They are the most politicized, and then all of a sudden you have, from Treasury, everybody going after the people that were involved in the 9/12 project, that were
Right.
trying to get 501c3s, all this stuff. And Lois Lerner, all these people got away with this shit. And that is proof pudding. Now, I know we're now 22 minutes in. I know you have a program to do.
I've got about another. I can give you till 7:40. I'm
Okay,
good.
cool.
With that.
Cool.
So here's the thing
I
that
want
I
you to
want to.
pimp your show, though. Okay.
Yeah. So tonight at 8 o'clock we go live with the Warrior Wallet, and tonight we're talking, which is a show aimed at some of the issues that I'm sorry, non-political financial issues that
For
happen.
military. Right.
With military. So one of the things that I bring up is that if you're not telling the truth, if you're not telling the
Honesty.
truth,
Right.
right? Here's what happens if you tell me one day that if you tell me one day that it's 2 and 2 is 4, and then the next day that the next day 2 and 2 is 5, and the next day is 2 and 2 is 3, you don't know what to believe. So
Right.
I have a hard time with that. And so when I look through some of the IG report, two things stand out to me.
Cool.
One is that one of the things that stand out more than anything else is the fact that it's more political than I have ever seen.
It's exclusively political, which breaks my heart.
And it's not political towards it's political towards the Democrats, which I wouldn't have expected it to be.
Right.
And
well, because of your bias at that point.
Well, at that point, right? But I mean,
Right.
I wouldn't have thought that these guys are going to go and say, that you're going to call Trump supporters retards, because here's the
Right.
thing. If you're going to say, okay, listen, they're misguided, whatever you want to call somebody, but the minute that you start calling someone a
You've got the floor for about 2 minutes, brother. Run on it.
well, what I'm saying is that when you start calling people names, what does that add to you? What does that add to the conversation? All you're doing is putting them on their heels, and they're going to wind up having, they're just going to be upset at you, and they're going to turn away. And that's exactly what I've seen from the report. There's so much politicizing that these, the people started going, nah, we're you're going to call them names. It's not adding to the conversation. I just think that the reliability of the narrative coming out from the Department of Justice, the FBI, and all that has been tarnished, and I don't know what they can do to get that back. So, what do you agree with that, or do you think that I'm out of line on that? So, this is what I go back to and say about having the integrity. You don't want people that I'll give you one of the lines. We recommend that the department and the FBI consider adopt a policy addressing the appropriateness of department employees discussing the conduct of uncharged individuals in public statements.
Right.
That is, that is one of the things that if you're going to do some things that are, when you put people on in public, and they've sent messages. This is what and
struck in page.
And here's another one. Agent 1 sent instant messages on the initial months of the mid-year investigation, commenting on the investigation. Some of these messages are listed below, along with the date sent and the recipient.
Right.
Have a really bad feeling about this case situation. No control and horrible decisions and chaos on the most meaningless thing I've ever done, with people acting like fucking 9/11. Wow. September 20 to an FBI employee. I don't care about it. I think it's continued waste of resources and time and focus. So you've got an active agent on an active investigation thinking it's a waste of resources. That isn't what the FBI is supposed to do. Right. You're supposed to, at least you're supposed to go and see where the facts takes you.
Right.
Not where you want the facts to take you, but where they want to take you.
It's like asking a leading question, brother. What was the first thing? Look, we were both military. Look, people will talk all the smack they want, but the truth is, hopefully somebody lets us know they can still hear both of us. One of the things that we both learned, basic, is do not ask a leading question. Don't have assumptions. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And this is the fuckery that's afoot. And it's ass-hattery, too. I mean, these people just felt like, oh, we're above everything. And I'm hoping we're still going out, which I hope I am, but I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I'm watching it. But
are you broadcasting on OBS?
I'm broadcasting on OBS, but we'll see. Somebody will say something or they won't. I'm not going to stress it because we are having a free flow conversation, and I will continue it when you have to leave. But
and so here's another thing. And this is what I said. It's the reliability of the message and the reliability of the message coming out from our government right now is not trusted. No. And it doesn't matter what part of the government. The only person that we could actually even consider trusting, or at least understand that that as America first is Trump. Trump is the only person going out there.
He's putting it on tweets.
And the reason is that you say that is he's putting it on tweets because people are sitting there twisting around what he says otherwise.
Right.
And it's when CNN reports, when CNN says that he wants two scoops of ice cream. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, not even that. When you have CNN reporting two things that they did recently, one was not CNN, so I will correct myself on that. But one, when you have a comedian saying he hopes it's the only way they can beat him. Please let me know if you guys can hear me, and Giorgio's. Please, we have 3 watching at this moment.
Okay.
Please let me know if you can hear us. Anyways, one of them that was important. Okay, gotcha. So
let me read. I want to read this last thing, and this is where.
Hold
on. Can I read something?
Yeah, you can, but give me a second to finish that thought. One was a comedian, and he said, "I hope we have a recession that will just."
Oh, Bill Maher.
Bill Maher, right? And so then the second thing was when you saw CNN shamelessly plugging, "Oh, you can trust us, America. You can trust us. We're going to give you the truth." Why would a media service have to say that unless they are trusted? And so this fake news shit is real. Anyways, Georgios, I pass it to you, brother.
I want to read this. This is an FBI employee, okay?
Right.
And he says, an FBI attorney, I am numb. FBI, I can't stop crying. Attorney, that makes me even more sad.
Yeah.
FBI employee, like what happened? FBI employee, you promised me this wouldn't happen. You promised. FBI employee, okay, that might have been a lie. This is an FBI employee. This is the final things. This is the day after the election. This is what he said.
Right.
All the people who were initially voting for her would not and were not swayed by any decision the FBI put out. Trump supporters are all poor to middle class, uneducated, lazy pieces of shit that he will magically grant them jobs for doing nothing. They probably didn't watch the debates, aren't fully educated on his policies, and are stupidly wrapped up in his unmerited enthusiasm.
Right.
Wow. This is an FBI employee. This is somebody. This is the FBI employee that is talking about, people, his fellow citizens.
Right.
That his fellow citizens that are in the United States that voted for president, and what they're saying is that you're stupid because you voted for the opposition.
Right. And, it's even outside the United States. He's dismissing anybody who's a veteran who has served overseas. He is dismissing everybody, and I'll guarantee you that son of a bitch that said that he's probably a college graduate, never served in the military, and doesn't know what he puts his ass on the line for, except for, I'm going to go after these people's records. I'm a lawyer. I speak a language. I do whatever. You know their qualifications now. Or I was brought in because I got to go after them white nationalists. It's all bullshit, and yet they want to feed this pablum to us and make us believe that, well, you know what I think about this. So, anyways, brother, you go on. I'm going to give you all the time you need.
And here's the idea that that at the end of the day is, if you can't trust the reliability of the message, then there's nothing else is going to happen, because again, if that people are so misguided because they think that what's coming out as truth is truth, but at the same time, hold on a second, people that have actually worked in intel or in the military know that some of these messages don't sound right.
It's all muff fake.
Right. And I'm gonna have to sign off, but I want to do two things I want to talk about before I leave. Today,
make sure you tell them what veterans program you're on so they can listen to it. And honestly, if you got to leave my stream, I want you to listen to Georgios's podcast. Always.
One thing I want to bring up is today's Flag Day.
Yes.
It is the number 2. It is the Department. It is the Army's birthday, and 3. It is the President of the United States' birthday as well.
Yeah.
So that's a hell of a trifecta.
That's a fucking trifecta, baby. I love you. You know.
And so I think that if he is, I think that is one of the things that we got to remember about today is, and I find it funny here's the thing. I find it funny that the IG report came out on his birthday.
Yeah.
That to me is, there's a little, and
That and a new lawsuit from New York trying to say his foundations did something wrong, and yet the Clinton Foundation has done nothing wrong. When we know what they did in Haiti, we know how they trafficked children. I mean,
well, let's be honest about it. The lawsuit.
It's bullshit. Yeah.
Everybody gets. I mean, everybody's going to get sued. Here's the thing about it, and I say this. I don't know anything about that foundation. I mean, I'm not a.
Right.
But at the same time, if you are, this is a foundation that has given money to veterans, has given money to a lot of people.
Yeah.
For him to use it as a tax haven when he's got I've written about this before. He's got a write down. He's got 1033 write downs.
Yeah.
Which is 1033 is an exchange for property to property.
Right.
The idea that he's going to need a write down for $335,000 to me is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. That's a carrying charge on on his cash. I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't sound right to me. And I have I had a series 6 and 7.
Right.
That to me just doesn't even. That's not even that is not even that doesn't even make sense.
We will do a show tomorrow, honestly, when you have more time. I know you got to get going. I really want you to pimp. And honestly, folks, leave my program. Go to Veterans
Radio Syndicate. You can find us on Facebook. It's called Vet Radio Syndicate. You can like our page. We have shows every night. Our show tonight is on. And you can catch us online at www.vetrs.com, which is our online broadcast and our shows. But on Facebook, it's Vet Radio Syndicate at VRS Radio.
Yeah.
And we do monthly. My show tonight is on the Warrior Wallet, which is I try to give
financial advice
to veterans, and hopefully that they can at least not make the stupid mistakes that
we did. Yeah. No, honestly, brother, I love you. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to continue the podcast.
And one last thing, God bless America. God
save America. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, man. Later.
All right. Love you. Bye.
All right.
All right, folks. So you have heard me talk to a brother from a long time ago. And can you guys still hear me? I'd like to make sure you can. I want to make sure that I'm getting out there to y'all. Georgios and I go way back. And I go way back with a lot of people. Because the reality is, brothers don't have... Thank you. Brothers don't have some sort of thing where we dissuade from each other. It doesn't matter what problems they have. We bond. We build. And that's something the veteran community does have. And this is why I tell everybody who's a veteran, and if you're a veteran, I need you to understand two things. I don't care how you're a veteran, National Guard, whatever. If you're a veteran of foreign wars, join the VFW. If you are not, join the American Legion. These are things that we can do now to actually be a progress for Americanism. Look, America, you guys can think what you want, but America was an idea, and it is an ideal. And that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. I believe that you guys can say, well, they didn't accept me, this, that, and the other, and it's because they're all old. Look, I'm a Gulf War veteran. Trust me, dude. I went into the VFW as a Gulf War veteran, and I had Vietnam vets, Korean vets, and World War II vets. They were like, you didn't do what I did, and they negated me. Even though I'm a contractor and I do what I do, I wasn't a soldier or a sailor or Marine, airman, or a Coast Guard guy. I got paid for what I did. Yeah, I see a Cold Warrior. I just posted something and it didn't show up. I see that. I don't know what you posted, brother. Repost. But what I'm saying is, we all served. We're all the same. And it's Veterans Radio Syndicate, GJ Maple. That's what you need to look up, and you can do it on the interwebs. So here's the thing. It's your time. It's not my time. I'm gonna be 50. My time's burning. It's gone. But you guys need to understand that it's your job to continue the line. I know all the excuses. They're not going to accept me. Look, you know why that worked back in the day and it still works now? The problem is now with me and my bros, it's international with me and my bros. And our job, the only job we have, is to make sure somebody does not blow their brains out that we know. And it's important thing. Trust me, I'm no better than they are, and they're no better than I am. But this is a real thing, and you are the future. I'm not. I'm the past. And just try to honestly do something. Stand up. Be counted. I don't know how this shit show's gonna fucking end. I tried to mold it at a point, but anyways, been a good show. Do not believe what's coming out of DOJ. I will tell you this. Do not believe what they're selling you. They have edited Horowitz report. It was longer than the 499 pages they're telling you. And this is evil shit that's happening. And all of us should demand from our president, fire them all, and I mean this from the line agent to the fucking top. Fire them all and replace them with marshals. Because guess what? Here's something none of you know, and I'm going to tell you right now. Every federal agency except for DOD, they get their fucking authority through the Marshals Act. The marshals can do what the fuck they do. Anyways. God bless our president. Hopefully he fires everybody. I really, and the Congress, they can revoke their authority. And they need to. The FBI is nothing more, and the DOJ is nothing more than political pawns at this point. And they all need to go home and learn how to weld. They need to learn how to crawl iron. They need to learn another job. And they don't need a soft landing. The colleges need to be revamped. There's a lot that needs to be done, but I don't know how to do it. I thought I did at one point, but, you know, it's hubris. It was just my bullshit. So, anywho, I'm glad you guys all showed up. Thanks for showing up, and I told you the truth. I believe in you. I don't even know how to put this. We can fix this, but we have to be united. And Semper fucking Fi. That's all I have to say. God bless. Be well. Be safe. Shuff out.